Thought Bubble Audio.
Look, up in the sky!
You will never find the more wretched hive of scum and villainy.
Welcome to Beer with Geeks with Tim and Frank.
Who are you?
I'm Batman.
I am Iron Man.
Your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man.
Hi, Christopher. I'm Nero.
My name is Inigo Montoya.
You're a wizard, Harry.
A couple of guys with a couple of beers and a whole lot of pop culture nostalgia.
Make it so, number one.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Beatles.
Name the dog, Indiana.
Life finds a way.
I am serious. And don't call me Shirley.
Now sit back and crack open a cold one, because it's time for Beer with Geeks.
It comes in paints?
Shaken, not stirred.
Great Scott!
I was way off. I knew it started with an S, though.
Hi, and welcome to Beer with Geeks, where two geeks geek out with beer. I'm Tim, and with me, as always, is my crime-fighting friend, Frank. How are you today?
Doing pretty good, bud. Doing pretty good. How are you?
I'm doing pretty well, Frank. I love cherishing anniversaries of things, Frank, is what's really important.
Yeah.
And this is the anniversary of Nothing Between Us, except for our weekly anniversary of recording this podcast.
That was a weird. I thought you were going a different direction with that, but sure. Yeah,
it is. Where was I going?
I don't know. The anniversary of the thing we're going to talk about. But yeah, no, it is another week that we get to talk to each other, and that's a very good week indeed.
Indeed. What are you drinking while we talk to one another?
I am about to open up a Bentwater Brewing Company Lady Vacay Salted Blonde Ale.
Ooh, that sounds really good.
It is
Salted Blonde Ale.
Yeah. So these guys, Bentwater Brewing, they're right out of Lynn, Massachusetts. I went to their brewery just a couple weeks ago on a Saturday night. My wife and I, just after dinner, we went out to the brewery. It was really cool. And we bought a 6-pack because we liked this so much. We tried it at the brewery. Lady Vacay is a bougie little blonde with a salty side. Brewed with wheat and sea salt, this summer girl sips like a saint and swears like a sailor. So it may not be summer right now, but it's this is a damn good beer no matter what time of year. So I'm enjoying the heck out of this. Bentwater Lady Vacay.
That sounds really good. I wish I could try it, Frank.
Oh,
but
well, that's all right.
But alas, gluten-free beer is the way for
beers
me
for now
in the future. That's okay. But I did find another one, Frank, besides Omission.
Oh,
are you ready for this?
What you got?
I know. I have an Ipswich Celia Saison.
Oh, I didn't know Ipswich did gluten-free.
Me either. 'Twas a wonderful discovery, Frank. 'Twas a wonderful discovery. It's got that kind of, orange peel, Belgian, usual Saison kind of style to it. It's light as all gluten-free beers are, because it's the gluten that makes the beer heavy, really, truly. But it's really good. I do recommend, if you're not feeling like your tum-tum wants something to be, full.
Yeah.
Then I recommend that. I will send you the beer. So, well, not the beer itself. I will send you what it is, so you can add it to the show notes, as you usually do, because you're really good at your job.
Got it. All right. Adding it now. That is awesome. That is so cool. Wow. I'm very impressed.
I'm very impressed with Ipswich. Just generally the town itself, but then also because of the beer and the brewery.
Because of the beer.
So, yeah, life's good.
So
life's
cool.
good that way.
Huh.
So, Frank, very recently, 'twas the 25th anniversary of Batman, Mask of the Phantasm.
Yeah, it was.
Yes. Yeah. Can you believe it? 25 years.
25 years.
Was it 25 years? Yeah, 25 years. Pretty sure that's correct.
25 years. Yeah. It would have been 1993.
Yes. So, yes,
yeah.
I am correct. 25 years.
Wow.
My God. It actually came out Christmas Day. So they showed it in theaters a little early.
Okay.
But Palmer, co-host of Academy Rewind, sometimes of this podcast, and I went to go watch said movie in the movie theater because, you know what? I didn't get to see it when it came out
right.
the first time. And Mask of the Phantasm is probably my favorite Batman movie.
You've said this, and I was very surprised.
Why were you surprised?
Well, only that one of the bigger live action ones didn't have that distinction. I was just surprised.
Well, here's the thing. I like most of those movies. Disclaimer: most of them.
Sure.
And I think that while most of them really have their merits as good films, I pull apart things about Batman in each film. Let's take Batman Begins. It's going along fine. It's going along fine. It's all good. It's all good. I won't kill you, but I don't have to save you.
Yeah,
that's just second-degree murder.
Yeah,
Batman.
yeah.
Like that's not like that's like stupid. Like it's. I feel about that scene the way that you feel about Superman snapping Zod's neck in Man of Steel. It's still murder. Like you not saving him is still murdering him.
Sure.
Like stupid. It's just stupid. Anyway, so like even though I recognize the rest of that movie as being quite good and being a good depiction of that character, that's a fundamentally flawed version of Batman. Goes against a huge chunk of who he is as a person, and that tract continues in the rest of the Dark Knight trilogy. Truly, I guess murdery Batman is a big part of all Batman films. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter which one. Even Batman and Robin, he's a murderer. I mean,
right.
I mean, it's technically Robin and Batgirl that do it, but still,
yeah,
they're all connected. You know what I mean?
Sure, yeah. There's plenty of blame to go around.
Right. And so I love those movies for what they are and the joy that they give me and blah, blah, blah and all that stuff. But it's a flawed version of the character that I love.
Sure.
And Mask of the Phantasm is not. It is and not because I love Batman the Animated Series, to which I do, but but my favorite episode of Batman the Animated Series is Batman Mask of the Phantasm. Like, like if people say like, oh, what's the best thing that come out of that show? I say the movie.
Yep. Okay.
Because it toes the line exactly where it should. Here's Batman the detective. Here's Batman the like I don't know, angsty, lonely vigilante. But here's also Batman with a wry sense of humor. Here's the action. It has everything. The high moral value. You're doing it wrong and I'm doing it correctly. Like I'm doing it correctly.
Yeah.
You may not be saving them from the car flying out the window and smashing into a skyscraper, but I didn't know it was going to happen. Or whatever.
Yeah.
So that's why that movie to me works, because it tells you everything you need to know about Batman from start to finish.
So would you say that it's your favorite because it's because it is a well-rounded picture of Batman that shows every facet or every major facet of this character and what makes him so great?
Yes, but I mean there are other movies that also do that. This is not the only one to do that, but I think every other part of the movie works well. I think other characters are interesting. The story itself is intriguing. It is a good mystery if you haven't seen it a bajillion times.
Sure.
It's like and it hasn't been spoiled for you over the years. I think the design of the film is very cool. The music is spectacular, like really top notch. Shirley Walker,
yeah, at her best.
Shirley Walker at her best, actually. So the music. So she was actually having a hard time writing the main theme for this film.
No kidding.
Because they wanted it to be different than just the opening to the television show.
Mm-hmm.
And so who did she turn to? Hans Zimmer.
Nice.
Her buddy Hans Zimmer, who was not like the Hans Zimmer yet, if you know what I mean.
This
like
is pre-Lion King Hans Zimmer.
This is pre-Lion King Hans Zimmer. Exactly. That's exactly where I was going with this. And so if you watch the opening of the movie, the first thing you hear is drums. dum 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 dum, and you're like, and once you hear it, you're like, oh my god, it's a Hans Zimmer piece.
God,
like,
that makes so much sense now that you tell me that.
That's a Hans Zimmer arrangement right there, is what that is. And then that's a fun piece because it's that fake vocal singing where they're not actually, like, the vocalists aren't actually using any words. They're not even singing in Latin. They're actually singing the credits backwards.
Stop.
Yeah, they're just all the names of the people that worked on the movie backwards.
Oh my god, that's insane.
I know. It's just very cool, and that's the Hans Zimmer effect. It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, sure. Wow, the drums and the voices. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Wow.
Do you know like the making of this movie, the origin of like how this movie got made?
I don't. But I would love for you to tell me.
Well, allow me to enlighten you, my friend. So basically, they were working on this movie at the same time as producing the show. And, so Bruce Timm, Eric Radomski, Paul Dini, like the guys that made Batman the Animated Series, they were also making the movie at the same time because Warner Brothers was like, hey, your show's popular. You should also make a, quote, direct-to-video movie.
Okay. Yes. I think I knew that it was originally supposed to be direct-to-video.
It was supposed to be direct-to-video, and a couple months into production, they only had 8 months to make the movie while also working on the show.
Whoa!
Which is a super fast turnaround for an animated movie. Most animated movies take years to make, and 8 months they did this.
And this is the same, like all the same animators and everything that were working on the show as well.
Yep. So they were making a show and making a movie at the same time. They were storyboarding and breaking down and writing scripts for 60 episodes of a television show because it was only in their first and second season at that point, and also making a movie.
Wow.
And then a couple months into production, Warner Brothers executives came and they're like, "Hey, we're going to release it in theaters too." And they were like, no, you can't do that because we're making this animation like based on it's going to be on a 13-inch screen.
Right.
Not on it's going to be on 20 feet of a screen whatever it is, and so like the animation isn't ready for that. So they had to go back and like fix a bunch of stuff and like make it look prettier. The whole movie was even originally going to be in 3D. Like they were going to make it like a 3D model in the computer.
I see.
Yeah. The only
like Pixar
remnants,
style.
Exactly. Pixar style before Pixar.
Right.
And that was scrapped. The only remnant of that is the opening credit sequence. It shows Gotham and it's all computer generated.
So this could have been Toy Story. Like this could have been the first all computer generated animated film.
That's correct.
Wow.
Yep. Batman Mask of the Phantasm, first computer generated film. Yeah, I'm glad it wasn't.
Yeah.
Just like if you go back and watch Toy Story now.
Oh yeah, it does not look as good.
It does not look as good.
But
no,
that's
some
why
of it
they were
does.
so smart. That's why they were like, well, everything we make looks like plastic. Hey, I know. Let's have a movie where all the characters are made of plastic.
Exactly. It's genius. And they do like a very good job at avoiding looking at humans as much as possible.
Yes. Right. You don't even see Andy's face and his mom's face for most of the movie.
That's right. And when you do, you're like, oh God. Yeah.
Right.
Like
it's very brief.
Oh yes. Yeah. It does not work. But I mean, Toy Story is great. Movie still holds up.
Still holds up.
Hilarious. So it was just a really, really, really truncated group of time. The movie itself is kind of very, 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 very loosely based on Batman Year 2, which is the sequel to Frank Miller's Batman Year 1 and David Mazzucchelli's Batman Year 1, into which the Reaper comes to town. And he's got like giant hooks for hands, like I Know What You Did Last Summer or Captain Hook, but ginormous. And yeah. I'm Stinky Pete, but yeah, exactly. You know what I was talking about. So we get this, created version, this new version for the show for the movie called The Phantasm, who is never called The Phantasm once in the entire film.
Oh wow.
It's like the Phantom Menace
Yeah.
Who's the Phantom? Oh, it's Billy Zane. Oh, he's in this movie. Like,
yes, just like that. Oh, it's Billy Zane. Yep.
Yep. Who's the Phantom Menace? It's Billy Zane.
He's in this movie.
That's a joke I'm not going to bother to describe.
Well, no, don't explain it. It's fine. People who get it, email us if you get it. Beerwithgeeks.
Yeah, that's right. Oh my goodness. So anyway, so that's kind of how the movie. So then it was released. It was released on Christmas Day, and it did not do well in theaters because they didn't really market it at all. They were like, "Here's the movie," and they like threw it. And OW kind of like threw it into theaters, and then because they decided pretty much last minute to put it in there. And so it found its audience on home release, like many things did in those days.
And it was intended to do.
As it was intended to do. That's right. And it is just a stellar piece of work. This movie, I think, really also allowed for Mark Hamill to stretch his Joker, because the Joker in the show is fine. Like, he's good because he's Mark Hamill and he's the Joker and he's the best one and blah, 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 all that stuff. But, like, the Joker that people kind of think of, you know, especially even when it comes to, like, oh, Mark Hamill playing the Joker, like, you know, Batman the Animated Series, that was good. You go back and watch those Joker episodes, whichever ones he's in, and then you watch Mask of the Phantasm, and you're like, that's the Joker I was remembering. Mm-hmm. It's the Mask of the Phantasm one.
I was going to ask you that. Yeah, is that what people are really remembering? Is it that?
I think that's what they're remembering. He is the same character, but he's just, the whole movie is just slightly edgier, just very, very slightly, not in a way that you're like, oh my God, this is offending my child's sensibilities or anything like that. But it's just a smidge darker, a little bit more serious. There's a little like blood on the lips and running out the nose, and you know, like people die, like actually die, you know, and like. And the Joker, by the time he shows up, really plays into that. And there's some like subtext humor, like you know, like domestic, like almost like animal abuse, like, you know, like he goes in and like, you know, like kicks the rusty robot dog out, and you know, but that's his home. He, you know, he's kind of talking to himself in a cute way, but he's also like maybe intonating that like maybe he does weird things with those robots.
Sure,
like,
sure.
You know, he has those conversations.
Wink, wink,
like,
nudge, nudge.
Yeah, you know, getting in the mood tonight. You know, like you know all that. So I don't know. There's some real creepy Joker stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
And it just lends itself to the Joker that he eventually becomes in Batman Beyond: Return of the Joker and the Arkham games, and like where he's really allowed to stretch his creepy Jokerness. But it all started with there. And I think there's something about Batman putting on his costume for the first time that I really like, just as a comic fan. That first time he puts on the cape and cowl and he's like, yeah, this feels right. This feels good. Holds 2 coffee mugs, you know, like, whatever,
yeah,
you know, whatever. and yeah, and that scene coupled in how it's done to the movie, because he finds out some devastating news that I won't spoil here, that I'm sure you remember. No, it's not his parents dying, and yeah,
not much of a spoiler that.
Right, he gets some news, and then it transitions right into him putting on the costume for the first time and like freaking Alfred out, you know. And
yeah,
it's just a very well constructed scene, the whole movie, and it has one of my favorite things in the whole world: Batman standing at his parents' grave. Like,
of course,
not Bruce at his parents' grave. That's fine. Like, yeah. Batman standing there, because it's all wrapped together. The whole reason that he's there in that costume is because of them. He should, for a very poetic reason, go visit that grave. Not even Crime Alley, their grave in that costume. And it's the only movie to actually do that.
To actually give you that.
Yeah, and it's just like, some of them come so close. They come so close. You know, Michael Keaton visits Crime Alley in Batman 89, and the graveyard of the Waynes themselves exist in Batman v Superman, which Bruce visits in his dream, and and in Dark Knight Rises. You know, like, so everyone's just so close, but nobody's put that on film yet.
They're always kind of hovering around it. There's always like you could just move one or two pieces and get you there, but for whatever reason, they just skirt by it.
It's crazy. I wish that there were movies like this for other heroes, though, like the almost like the perfection of these characters, the way that every single one of them is so perfectly crafted to be exactly everyone's like universally accepted version of the character. Like you don't watch this movie and be like, that's not the Joker, or that's not Batman, or that's not Alfred, or Commissioner Gordon, or whatever. Like they act exactly, no matter what kind of fan and no matter what kind of a story of like superhero story you like telling, like, or Batman story, they're exactly all who they should be.
They are archetypes of themselves, right? Like, and they're archetypical storylines.
Mm-hmm. That's an excellent way of putting it. And I wished films like this existed for, say, like Superman the Animated Series or Justice League or something like that. Some of those episodes are great, but not, and you have like Starcrossed the movie for Justice League, which was also, but that was also episodes of the television show, and like you had Superman versus Brainiac for Batman the Animated Series.
Sure.
But that was not the caliber of
not even close.
No. And so like I just really wish that there was something where you're like, wow, that's a completed film exactly how I wanted everybody to be.
Yeah, the Bruce Timm team does that a lot.
Mm-hmm.
They do that a lot. There are a lot of episodes of Justice League Unlimited that are sort of like, here's the archetype of the Question, here's the archetype of Green Arrow, Black Canary, like, you know what I mean? Like they did that really, really well.
Distilling the essence. They're very good at distilling the essence.
Yes, distilling the essence of the character down into a 20-minute episode, or in the case of this, a 90-minute movie, or think about the 3-episode premiere of Superman the Animated Series. That to me is like, it's got a great, the entire cast of characters down to the Daily Planet staff and Lex and his. All that is all there from the beginning.
Yep, I 100% agree with you. That is an excellent premiere. And that one's different than Batman the Animated Series. That's a 3-part premiere that they basically made a movie.
They made a movie and aired it on TV. Yeah.
Yeah, the first episode is all Krypton. All of it.
Mm-hmm.
Man, this is good. This is good stuff. I was going to ask you a question, but I forgot what it was. So let me tell you the story and then see if I remember. So I saw this movie on the big screen for the first time.
Yes.
This movie was kind of the point of all of this.
Right.
And when I heard before that, like, oh no, the animation wasn't, it wasn't really meant for the big screen, so blah, blah, blah. I didn't get it until I actually saw it on the big screen. And there were just a few moments, very, very minimal, but there were a few where I was like, wow, that is actually not good on the big screen. There's like one where like Andre is like pupil, one is like looking up and one's looking down.
No
like,
kidding.
Like she has googly eyes or something like that. And really? I was like, I never would have noticed that. Even on like a 50-inch screen at home or anything like that, I never would have noticed that. But
wow.
But on a giant screen like that, wow, that's super noticeable. I can see why they were nervous.
Yeah.
Because 2 animation companies, one's really good and one's just okay. And so sometimes you can tell when the just okay animation company had the reins.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
Because it really was just okay.
It was just okay. I mean, it was a different, it was meant for a small screen. They didn't fill in that much detail and things like that. You have a lot of, I imagine, I haven't seen it on a large screen, but I imagine a lot of it looks like, oh yeah, this is not visually that impressive. Some of it. It's just sort of like,
No, the beginning is very impressive.
Sure, that I can see.
Most of the Phantasm scenes are spectacular. The graveyard and the parking complex and all that stuff that's really, really, really well done. There was a moment I noticed that they moved the Bat computer in the movie from where it is in the television show.
Oh, interesting.
And I turned to Palmer and I said, I want an episode with just Bruce and Alfred moving the Bat computer from one area to another, and like 1, 2, 3, lift. Are we going on 3 or are we? And it just, damn it, Alfred! And then like one trips and like half the computer falls over the edge because there are no railings, and you're like, now I just have to buy a new one. just like, oh, sir, did you know there are no plugs over here? What? Oh, like,
Not to call an electrician.
Nope, moves back, computer back, end of episode. Like,
I wanted to see the one where he calls the bat electrician to put the more plugs over there.
Alfred, dude, I need a blind and deaf and mute electrician, please. Like, they'll never know my secret.
He'd just read books on being an electrician, just learn it himself.
I think he already learned it himself.
I think he would know that already.
I would think so.
Wouldn't get far without that.
No.
In his line of work.
No, he just brings the computer down to the cave and he goes, all right, well, it's down here.
Sure.
I can't plug it in anywhere,
but
it's certainly down here.
Yep.
Man, the electricity bill for the Wayne Manor must be astronomical.
Crazy.
Yeah. I would assume that all of it actually runs on generators. That is always kind of in my understanding.
You know what? And if it were 2018, it would be like carbon neutral and like all solar energy.
Sure. Solar energy in a cave, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, he'd get it from somewhere else. Come on.
Sure. Yeah. No, that makes sense. Even if he had he had a solar panel farm like at the manor, just like tucked away in the corner.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, I did love this. This movie is great though. The only thing about watching a movie really well, really well, like beat for beat, line for line, anything like that. Watching it on a big screen or not, your mind does kind of wander just slightly.
Really, even still.
Yeah, you're not completely absorbed in what you're seeing. Like I can from start to finish like go through this movie the way that like we could go through Star Wars.
Sure. Yeah.
Something like that. You just kind of know it, like the back of your hand. Oh, hey, that's new. So.
Yeah, you're right. When
I've been making that joke for years, and you're the first person to laugh.
Well, it's a visual joke in an audio medium, so we'll see how it goes. But yeah,
that's true.
I think people get it.
That joke is from the movie Robots. Do you remember that movie?
No.
Yeah, with Robin Williams and Ewan McGregor, I think.
Oh my God! Wait, yeah. I don't think I knew that's what it was called. I think I probably just caught it on like ABC once or something.
That's a robot. That's a Robin Williams joke in that movie. I know the city like the back of my hand. Hey, that's new.
Yeah, I think I've seen that clip. I think I must have seen that clip somewhere.
I've never seen the movie. I've only seen the trailer, and it's in the trailer.
Okay, got it. Robin Williams at his finest.
What were you going to say?
I don't remember. We're talking about Robin Williams now. We should probably button this up before I go down another tangent.
Okay. Your third button from the bottom is undone. Now, which button of mine is undone?
I see.
Is this the game we're playing now?
No.
No.
Please, no. Can we not? No, thank you, please.
Oh, man. It's because we recorded an episode of Supergirl before doing this, Frank.
Yes, that is correct.
And that is what's happening to us. We've deteriorated.
We have broken down. We are broken men.
Much like Batman.
Very much like that, yes.
Like the relationship between Andrea and Bruce. Like that is where we are. But anyway, so my pitch to people who have not seen this, if you're looking for a good 75 minutes of your life, I just watch this movie. If you have a passing interest in Batman, this is the outside of probably The Dark Knight is probably the best depiction of the character on screen. I think it's better, but because there are a couple things in The Dark Knight that you go, oh, Batman, what are you doing? Just stop. But mostly this is just a tremendously well done film and just an incredible feat of filmmaking for 8 months of work while working already working full time on another bit of animation. It's just insane how they were able to make this film. So would recommend 5 out of 5. Go watch. Enjoy yourself.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, man. Frank, where can the people find us?
People can find this episode and all the episodes at beerwithgeeks.com. That's where you'll find the show notes. You can also follow us on Twitter at beerwithgeeks, on Facebook, Beer with Geeks. You can find us on iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, Overcast, anywhere you find your podcasts, you will find Beer with Geeks. Just search for us. Just search for us. We're there. Check us out, beerwithgeeks.com. Thought Bubble Audio Academy.com is that's what we're part of. That's the name of our network. That's where you'll find lots and lots and lots of fine shows like Academy Rewind, where Tim and Palmer talk about every Oscars film.
Exactly.
Every Best Picture nominee ever.
Ever. It's a huge undertaking. Listen to the show to make it worth my time.
Exactly. It's fantastic. And also to make it worth his time, you can head on over to patreon.com/thoughtbubbleaudio and kick in a buck or two a month and help keep these shows alive. It's only, a buck a month. It's a quarter per show. Seems to be something most people can swing.
It's pretty good.
That's it for me, my friend. Thank you for telling me all about the making of this film. That was fascinating, and I come out of this a smarter man than I came in.
Thank you. I'm sure you can use all of this knowledge at work tomorrow.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, very applicable. Yeah,
very, very applicable. Well, okay. Well then, until next time. Cheers.